Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 24th of October 2018. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's morning session where we're going to have a look at a few instruments, a few of the charts, of course. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay guys, so let's jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on is the DAX. Now looking at the daily chart in DAX, first of all, of course, we can see that yesterday we had a bit of a down day, but to be honest, the cash index, as you can see probably right now yourselves, if you're trading DAX, is kind of slightly below the 11,400 zone. So in a way, we had our retracement already, so we could see a gap here opening today, this morning. So keep your eyes on the 1140, guys. 11,400. A nice good break above that could potentially fill up this gap that we have here between the 11,400 and the 11,500. So in a way, that leads to my second point, which is a possible test of the 11,500. But for that, guys, we would need to see a nice good break above the 11,400. Of course, if the 11,500 doesn't stop the bulls here, then yep, we could see this one traveling all the way higher here, maybe testing the 11,680 zone. Let me just kind of slightly adjust this level here. So this could be the next potential area of resistance, and of course this could continue traveling higher if these resistance areas won't hold. So for now, be very careful on this one. Still, it's looking weak overall. We're still below this very short-term downside resistance line. Let me kind of draw this one quickly here. So in a way, if you want to put it in other words, for example, if we get a nice break here above the 11,500 and then we get a nice break above this one, now this could be a nice indication that this index wants to travel higher here and aim for the levels that I just talked about. But of course, at this point in time, just above the 11,500, be very careful because of this kind of, in a way, more of a tentative maybe, but nevertheless a line. Keep your eyes on that one, because if this moves higher but then gets rejected around here, around this downside resistance line, then well, all this could be seen just in this up move here could be seen as just a correction here for where the bears could kind of take advantage of it and then jump in here again and lead this one back down. So for now, that's why I'm saying, so be very cautious. On the downside, we're still keeping an eye on this 11,150 zone. Now, just kind of to remind you, the 11,150 zone has been marked here by the lows of the December, around the 12th of December, something like that, of 2016. So quite an important level here, the 11,150. So keep your eyes on that one, and let's see how this index opens up here this morning. Jumping into silver now. So silver had a good run yesterday. Today we're seeing a nice continuation here and with the positive candle here on the daily chart, but it's currently banging on the door of this important area of resistance at around 14,780. So approximately there. Let me just jump into a 4-hour chart in this one, and of course you can see that it continues to kind of test this area around that level, and of course if this continues to push higher, certainly we could then see a test of the 14.90 or even actually the psychological 15 zone. So of course the psychological 15 zone is going to be a much more important level here to watch, because if, like I said, this pushes higher, then we could see a possible test of the 15 level. So on the downside, well, for those short-term traders, probably you could in a way keep your eyes on this little level right here, at around 1470 zone, approximately there. So a nice good break below that could send this commodity a little bit lower. Certainly we're going to be very cautious here, because it could be approaching the EMAs that we've got here, the 21, the 50, and the 100. So could potentially stall somewhere around here. But if the selling pressure will continue being strong, then we could see this one traveling all the way down here towards the 14.50, or even actually this upside support line that we've got here. Just let me just kind of slightly adjust it. It's skewed a little bit here. So we do have this nice potential bouncing ground as well for silver. So in a way, keep your eyes on that one. But of course, for us to see this test of this upside support line, we would need to get a nice good drop here, initial drop here below the 1470 zone that I was talking about. Then of course the 1450, and then, like I said, we could only then consider possible test of this upside support line. But for now, judging by the picture here, it kind of seems more bullish than bearish, so be very careful with this one nevertheless. Yep, and keep your eyes on these higher levels that I just talked about. Jumping into a few pairs now. Aussie dollar, for this one, let me jump in back into the daily chart. So in a way, we're still trading within this downside moving channel, and yesterday we had a bit of a nice push here back up. So the bulls managed to recover some of their lost grounds, and pushed and closed the daily candle in the positive zone. So we're seeing a bit of bullishness kicking in already right now. So let me just jump back into a 4-hour chart on this one. But this is the picture that we're seeing right now. So it's found its resistance here on the 4-hour chart near the 50 EMA, shown here as the red line. Of course, if now we're going to overcome this high here, this is of course from the short-term perspective, guys. So if we're going to move above the highs here around the 0.7150 zone, now this is where it could become more interesting again, because we could then target the highs that we saw around here in the mid-October, and also of course we could eventually test this area right here at around 0.7160, which is also coinciding right now with the 200 EMA. So in a way, there are some good potential areas of resistance here above. Certainly, let's not forget the upper side of the falling channel formation as well. So but for us to, let's say, start examining lower levels here again, we would not only need to see a drop below the 0.7055 area approximately there, but also a drop below the 0.7040. This could be a better confirmation of a possible decline further, and then yep, we could eventually maybe aim for a possible test of the of this area right here at around 0.6970, or even actually the all the way down here towards the lower side of the falling channel. But again, that's a bit of a big move here to make. So for now, we're just going to keep that aside and just going to aim and focus on these levels here, the 0.7040 on the downside, and the from the very short-term perspective, the high here, the 0.7105 area approximately there. So let's jump into EURJPY. Now this one is an interesting one. So in a way, to be honest, we can ignore this formation that we had here. Now what's more interesting is that this pair seems to be forming a double top here on the 4-hour, oh sorry, double bottom here on the 4-hour chart. And as you can see, the level here, now let me just quickly mark that. So the level here around the 128.30, so kind of in a way acted as good area, good bouncing ground, good support. So as from which you can see that the pair managed to push higher. Certainly, as you can see, we already tested this key important area of resistance at around 129.20. So in a way, from the very short-term perspective, this is going to be our the level to watch for, especially for today. If we're going to get a nice push here above this 129.20, this could potentially open the path towards a possible test of the 129.85 zone, approximately there. So keep your eyes on that one, of course. This could be a nice potential area of resistance, or in a way you could even lift it a little bit just to kind of put it towards the 90 just in case. Also, we slightly above that we do have the 200 EMA as well, approaching that 129.90 level as well. So around this area, this is where the pair could potentially stall here for a little bit until it kind of decides what it wants to do further. But again, for this scenario, we would need to get a nice good break above the 129.20 in first. On the downside, well, I mean, from the very short-term perspective, in a way, you could keep an eye on the 128.75 zone. If we get a nice break below that, we could eventually maybe drop lower here, maybe even actually test the 128.30. But to be honest, for us to kind of get more comfortable with the downside, we would need to get a nice good decline and a drop below the 128.30, and only then we'll aim for much lower levels. So for now, be very cautious here, and like I said, keep your eyes on these levels that I was just talking about from the very short-term perspective. And for today, like I said, the 129.20 and the 128.75 on the downside. USDJPY, I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. This continues to climb higher here. Nice rejection here from this long-term upside support line that has been running here since around the March time or this year. So, or should we even say probably more of a medium term. So the end of March, basically, this is when this upside support line started, and you can see continues to hold nicely. It yesterday got rejected around this area, so also around the 112 zone. Around 112 zones, and now it's kind of in a way pushing higher and aiming for the 112.80. so this could be a nice area of resistance, or even in a way you could put this level here just slightly above that, just to be more on the safe side, and that's approximately around the 112.90 zone. So in a way, for those more cautious traders, you could keep an eye on the 112.90. I do apologize for my mistake earlier. 112.90. This is the area to watch for those, like I said, more cautious traders, and a nice good break above that could potentially lead towards higher levels like 113.25 or even the 113.50. But on the downside, we're still keeping an eye on this level here, the 112. A nice good break below that could potentially lead towards lower levels, but this is where we're going to keep an eye on the 111.65. And the last pair that I really wanted to quickly touch on, guys, and that's Euro against the Swedish crown. And for this one, I'll jump into the daily chart, and as you can see, we're still above this upside support line, this kind of long-term upside support line that has been running here from the beginning of October last year. So this is something that we're going to keep an eye on for now, and we do have some news coming out lately, or should I say shortly, in a few hours, in a couple of hours, and then it's, of course, is the Swedish interest rate decision, and so keep your eyes on this one. Maybe it's already priced in, but we could see maybe a bit of volatility here. So in a way, keep your eyes on the upside here. Keep your eyes on the area around the 10.37 zone. Keep your eyes on that one, because a nice good break above that could potentially push this one a little bit higher, maybe towards the 10.42 zone first, and if that doesn't hold, we could continue climbing higher. But again, for the downside, we would need to see a nice good break not only below this upside support line, this long-term upside support line, but also below the the 10.28 zone. So approximately there, this could be a nice gateway for further declines here. So yep guys, for now keep your eyes on that one, keep your eyes on these two levels. So just on the downside the 10.28 and on the upside the 10.37. so let's see how this reacts and if it actually makes a move, a big move here or not. So okay guys, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and if you want to join me later on today at my Traders Tea Time, and that's 6 o'clock GMT time, 7 o'clock do apologize, that's I'm still thinking about the espresso. 13:15 GMT time, 14:15 British Summer Time. But for now guys, thank you very much and I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you. Bye bye.